Hello YouTube, this is the Nerabin, and this will be my conclusion of my review of Traveller by Mongoose Publishing. I will do a short evaluation, if you want, of the book, and then I will go beyond review and give maybe some tips about further reading. As I said, this book is probably nothing for beginning role players, and I don't think you will use it as is, but despite all that, I think it's a very good product. It's has a modular build, and even though you have probably will change the rules, it's very rules light and very so it is very easy to include changes, because you can quite easily see if I change this, it will cause this. So that should not be that much of a problem. And I personally like the character creation system by chance, even though it will produce different power levels in characters. And because you can really run nearly anything with this game, you probably could even run a fantasy campaign. Maybe not as under no circumstances as good as you could with products that are specifically designed for fantasy campaigns, but you could do it. And of course it is best when doing science fiction. What really is great about this book, or better about Traveller as a whole, is the enormous amount of free materials on the web. There are different fanzines out there. Some of them come out monthly. The entire map of the Third Imperium is available as a free resource on travellermap.com, I think, but you can find the link in the video 0 of this review, and also with the stats, so you won't need I will speak a bit about the standard setting, about the Third Imperium and the Spinward Marches. The original Spinward Marches supplement is something that I bought for money on a drive-thru RPG in the German version, and I regret it, to be honest, because all the information is now available free. And it really is not that much. They basically printed out a map of 16 subsectors, I think. So 16 times 10 times 8 hexes, each representing a parsec. This is really a big space, and you probably won't need any more if you want to run a campaign. That's a given. But they only gave you the I think 7-digit number and a name associated with the place, and what kind of base there is, if any. So you have very basic idea what the setting looks like, and then they gave you for each subsector about 3 to at most 8 lines, I think, and that is for usually 20 different worlds and billions of people. That's really not much. And I think by now the stats you can easily get from travelermap.com if you zoom in deep enough, and the Traveller Wiki, I think, will hold the information on the subsector, maybe even more. Maybe they even have information on different planets. Oh, I remember. What this does not include, and you may have thought so because I showed you the map, it did not include a example subsector, as they did in previous editions, or not Mongoose did in previous editions because this is their first, but when the Game Designers Workshop, Game Designers Workshop did it. They always had an example subsector with stats and a bit of information about the different planets. Even more than in the Spinward Marches supplement. But there are two other Spinward Marches supplements out. One is for Mongoose Traveller, and it is the most detailed of them. Every world in the Spinward Marches has between half, or I think sometimes 1 page, to at least 1/4 of a page. But the stats are not given in the usual Traveller 7-digit numbers, so you would have to watch them up on travelermap.com or somewhere. And then there is the one that Mongoose themselves put out, and that's somewhere in the middle. I only looked it over in my gaming store and did not decide to buy it because it is not as extensive in some regards. They do a bit. They also have all the stats. They have a map, and they give you broad details about companies operating in the sector. This also is done by GURPS, but they do it slightly differently, about races and mercenary organizations and the different states that exist. And then they give you about, I think, half to 1 page for each subsector, and then they usually go into detail on 1 or 2 of the worlds that are inside of the subsector. That's, I think, everything I remember from my short view in it. Maybe you should look it over in your own gaming store. The quality of the texts themselves, as far as they exist, is good. No question there. But I personally think that the GURPS version, which is called Behind the Claw, I think, is better. But that's just my taste. They also have a very nice section in the end for the referee, and it contains information about events that are going on, about secret knowledge in principle. This state is doing an expedition here, and there is a secret base there, and there is a yet unknown number of vanishing of ships here, and so on. And they give you some information what's behind it, or what could be behind it. It's more dead set in this than usual Traveller adventure hooks, which usually have 6 different outcomes or so. But I think you can live with that. Yeah. The names of the different titles that come out for each Traveller edition are usually very alike. but they often do very different things with those titles. So don't think that something, just because you have seen it in the old edition, will look somewhat the same in the newer editions. And then finally something for the world builders out there. I said here in this book we only have information on how to create the main world of each system without any regards to the rest of the system or the star itself. And I so far have 3 different supplements for Traveller that contain rules for this, or systems for this, to create that. The first one is the the classic Traveller version of the Scouts book, which has a very short system, but quite good, well designed, I think. It's not as detailed as it could get, but it will fit really nicely, I think. And if you really want to do something in detail, I think you will find a way to do it. And it is really cheap as a PDF, and well. Then there is the World Tamer's Handbook I have, but that's for the new era, I think. That is also quite nice because it contains I'm not quite sure at the moment if it has system creation rules at all in it. I will post it in the description as soon as I've looked it up. And then there is First In, which is the GURPS Traveller version of the Scouts book, and it has quite a detailed a detailed system for star creation. And this is expanded further into 2 other GURPS supplements, GURPS Space for 3rd edition and then GURPS Space for 4th edition. Both are nice books. The 4th edition version of GURPS Space is definitely the most extensive, and it is even hard to, or I found it at least hard to think through the whole process that is kicked loose as soon as you begin with the dice rolling. It's quite complicated, and I don't really know if it's all that necessary. The 3rd edition has a system that is quite useful and is a bit more detailed than the other ones, but not as detailed as 4th edition. Maybe I will do further videos on Traveller, specifically about the setting I design at the moment for an upcoming Traveller campaign, or at least I hope I will be able to make a Traveller campaign. Yes, and I think that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I'm the Narrowin.